Hey there, just a quick reminder, we have a mentorship program if you're looking for personalized coaching and mentorship to help guide you to the next level of your interior design business, whatever that might look like for you, whether it's processes and procedures or what services to offer to how to incorporate wellness, intention, or spirituality into your projects. Come join us over at designcoven.com/join. Or if you're just in search to connect with other like-minded interior designers, you can join our free community, also located at designcoven.com/join. You're listening to the Holistic Interior Design Business Podcast. This is a podcast that guides you as a new or inspiring independent interior designer navigating your entrepreneurial path. Here, with my over 20 years experience, I will share my holistic approach to design with intention and ancient practices, including feng shui, all incorporating mind, body, and spirit into my design projects. You will also learn from seasoned interior designers as they give strategies and insight of how they built their businesses and continue to work in the field. Together, we will discover supportive trade partners, new ideas, creatives, and inspiring artists from around the world. I am your host, Rachel Lorraine Crawford. So I've got Paul Basile on with us today. We are going to talk a bit about inspiration, his origin story with design, and all that good stuff. But before we do that, I'm going to go ahead and open up our space. I always start by ringing a bell just to get us in the moment. I'm just connecting. We're gonna connect.
Somebody just dropped a pan next door to me, so I was like almost the same time.
Yes, so that was your bell.
Okay.
This is my bell.
Yeah.
We're like getting in the moment. We're connecting with our breath, and then I always just light a candle just to set the intention of, connection, creativity, all that fun stuff with the element of fire. So just see if this will catch. Perfect. And then I'm going to pull us a card, Paul. I'm pulling a card from Moon BB Magic, which is a friend of mine. She's in Huntington Beach, but she created her own deck, and I just love pulling cards. So this is what we're going to kind of have fun here.
Is this going to tell me something about you or the day or me, or what's this all about?
It's just like connecting today with our different worlds. Maybe the session. This is the Two of Caves, which is the Two of Pentacles. This is diversity. And whenever I get this card, I'm always seeing like this juggle of balance, of harmony, and like the switching off sort of thing, and just being in these two different. I always see this as like two different worlds. So
I feel like I'm living in two different worlds. All right, that's perfect.
Are you?
I don't know.
What's going on?
I don't know. Because if you pay attention to what's actually happening in the world, the normal life that we lead, it's kind of two different things.
We totally are. There's I feel like there's constant like parallel universes that are just happening, and we kind of go between those worlds. So I always ask on the podcast, you know what? I forgot to ask you this. What are you drinking? What are you nourishing yourself with?
Believe it or not, it's iced tea. It's literally all I drink, except for wine, of course. But it's I actually brew it every Monday myself. I brew 5 gallons. It's called Royal Cup. It's from Washington. I found it actually in Hawaii. I go to Hawaii a lot. We used to go to a little restaurant called Longi's, and they had just the most amazing iced tea. I don't know if it was because I was in Hawaii, but I drink it. I drink it now every day. So.
Oh, okay. Is it a green tea or black tea, or
just a black tea? Just simple.
You know?
Yeah.
Black tea.
I don't drink coffee, so I don't like coffee.
Okay.
But it kind of gives me a little bit of that buzz I need.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I've got a black tea over here. I've got a Chiang Rai black tea that I got from Paru. She's a friend of mine. I don't know if you're familiar with Paru. She's there in La Jolla in your hood.
Wait a minute. That little beautiful little tea shop?
Yeah.
Like the one next to Panikin down the street from that? Is that the right one?
It's right next to Haru, which is like a Japanese.
No, I bought a bunch of stuff from them. Yeah, I love their stuff.
Oh,
We're opening a restaurant just down the street from them, and we were going to actually approach them about bringing all their tea into our restaurant.
Oh my God.
So we want to do like a tea service.
Is amazing.
Yeah, no, I think their products are amazing. We bought like a couple of really cool glasses, and we do every Sunday. That's our little ritual. So
that's rad. Yeah, they are fantastic. I've been friends with them forever. It was before they even had a little space. They would do like these little pop-up tea things, and then I would do like my moon circles, and we would just like make rad stuff together.
Yeah. Wow.
So,
Awesome.
yay. Well, yeah, that's super cool. I love it. So back to my other question was, what's home for you at the moment?
As far as where I live,
Could be anything. Could be like where you live. It could just be the idea of it. Like,
I mean, I live in La Jolla. We purchased a house back in 2019, old mid-century modern, and I honestly, it's been the best place I've ever lived.
wow.
It's super magical as far as the design goes, and the way it was set up, and the location and the view. I always like lived downtown. I lived downtown for 28 years in the East Village, especially. I never thought I'd move out. You know, I lived in some high rises and stuff like that. I lived in lofts. I lived in warehouses, and I never thought I thought I was always going to be a city guy. But we found this house on a tour one day, and I was like blown away that it wasn't sold. And me and I think Jules, we literally put an offer in that day, and we fought until we got it. We wake up there every day going, how did we get this? Like, how did we score this house? So that's my home.
That's rad.
Yeah,
I love it.
I gotta show it. I don't think you've seen it yet, so I'll definitely.
No, we're gonna come over.
We do events quite often, so I'll have you come over.
Okay. Yeah, we're down. I love it.
This guy's my home too. This is Noble.
Oh, who is this? Oh,
this is Noble.
Hi, Noble. Oh, it's beautiful.
I think he asked for the bathroom, but she's gonna have to hold it.
He's gonna have to find somebody else to take him out.
We have a dog office, so.
Oh, sweet. And how many? I noticed that you guys feature the dogs a lot. How many are in the office at a time?
I mean, we never usually have more than 5 here, but usually there's like 3 or 4 minimum.
Nice.
Yeah, we got some new ones coming in right now, actually. So we got a bunch of new people. We're expanding our office right now because we get hire like another 20 people. So.
Oh my God.
That's mayhem.
Wow. And so a perk of that is that they get to bring their dogs to
everybody. Yeah, anybody has a dog can bring it, as long as it's like. We had one dog that the only time we had one dog that we didn't like. Nobody liked the dog, but we just didn't say anything.
Oh.
It was the biggest dog, and we called him the floor mat because he would just lay out. Because we just we have like one big long hallway in our office, and like he'd just lay in the middle of it, and so everybody's like tripping over him, and it was funny. And he would make you pet him,
but he's no longer there.
No, he's not everything. Him and his owner really didn't fly, so they kind of.
Oh, got it.
So, I think
that was it.
Yeah. So.
Nice.
Anyway.
That's funny.
Anyway,
hilarious. So I am curious because I don't think I've ever really asked you. Maybe I have, but I don't think so. We've had many conversations of how you got into the design world. Like, what's the story there? Like, how did this all happen?
I don't want to go too far back because it gets kind of lengthy, but I grew up next to a really well-known architect in Michigan. I'm from Detroit, and we were out in the boonies. We were in Milford, Michigan, which is like where our house backed the State National Park, so we had just thousands and thousands of acres to our disposal. But somebody moved in next door, did a very modern house, like very odd shape, like solar panels, like just just crazy different. And he was actually one of the designers of the Renaissance building, which is the most famous building in Detroit. So I grew up next to that, and that's kind of like inspired me to like architecture. I did go to school for about 1.5 years back in Michigan. Didn't like it. Decided to come out to San Diego, start a business. and then found that when I was working construction, that I kept seeing all this rebar laying around, and I started making things with it. And then I'm like, wait, maybe I can get into design this way.
Yeah.
I just didn't like how long it took to become an architect. It was like 20 years or something. Like, it was just like, I can be a doctor. I'm like, why would I do all this for, wait 15 years before I'm designing a house? Like, so I kind of went the reverse way. I'm starting to design houses now. Okay. So it took me, took me the same amount of time. So I could have just gone to school and done it. But anyway, yeah, that was kind of the start. I started doing furniture. I still do. I love furniture. I love lighting, designing and stuff. But, being able to do just intimate details with something is so much more fun. It's just, so that's how it started. And then I started working for other architects and designers, and I just thought that there was a process missing. And so I'm more of a fabricator who became a designer, and my design is derived from the build. So I'm not just thinking about a design aesthetic. I'm just thinking about how am I going to build it at the same time so that it doesn't become something that's watered down or later VE'd or whatever. So that's kind of our process now. That's how I'm trying to train and teach our team how to do that.
Wow. And how many people do you have on your team at the moment? I know you said you're in a huge hiring rush.
I think we're at 55 right now.
Wow.
So we'll probably be at 60 in the next, I think we have like 5 more people coming on in the next month. So we'll be at 60 pretty soon.
My goodness. And those first few projects, were you were collaborating with other people, like creating those things, or were you just kind of, you went off on your own? Or like, I have a lot of people that are kind of, wanting to get into the field. And I always like to know, like, how did that like break happen, or how did, what was that process?
I'd been building like a bunch of just furniture and tables, and I just all kinds of weird stuff. And I was just using leftover rebar. So I'd get all the rebar left over from the construction site, and I would go build a bunch of stuff with it. And then I would sell it in stores. And then I realized the stores were marking me up like double. And I was like, wait a minute, I'm doing all the work. And so I opened a store in the gas lamp back in 94.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. Okay. So I had a store, and that's kind of where I showed people stuff. I'd sell okay, and it wasn't that great, but most of the time people wanted something custom. And so we started doing custom stuff, and then architects and top designers used to come in and say, can you do custom? That's kind of how I got into it, and I started doing custom for them. And then it got to the point where we're doing lunch and learns with architecture firms and interior design firms, like, hey, just show me a napkin design and I'll build it for you. Like, don't spend all your time trying to figure it out, because I'm going to take your drawings and throw them away because you're not doing it right. So, not to be arrogant, but it was just like you got to understand your yields of your materials, you got to understand your equipment's capabilities, and you got to be able to do all that simultaneously while you put something together. So not a lot of people are thinking of that stuff. So that's kind of that's kind of like how I figured it out. And then after a while, I had actually, one of my big inspirations is Jennifer Luce, was a good friend of mine.
She's great.
Back in early 2004, 5, 6, and she was the first one who said, hey, like, why don't you just design yourself? Why are you working for people? And I was working for her. Yeah. Which I thought that was really amazing for her to say. I'm like, I'm doing work for you mostly right now. But she was just like, you're good enough to do it yourself. So then that kind of inspired me, and that's when I did my restaurant. From there on, I had a design team.
Wow.
So it's not like a plan. The Guild.
Oh yeah.
Not that many people know about it. The Guild restaurant down in Barry Logan. It was only open for like 2 years. That actually got me a really good understanding of restaurants.
That's what you needed.
Yeah. No, that's a big part of when I meet with clients. We talk about restaurants. I'm like, I went through that. It's like, I know what to understand the back of house. I understand service. I understand.
You have to.
I understand operating it. It's a freaking nightmare. So. I'm doing it again. So
that's so great. Yeah. So kind of coming back to the theme of inspiration, who or what, like, where do you find inspiration? Like, where does that come from?
I mean, I don't know if it's traditional inspiration. I think, I mean, obviously we all get it from everything we see and wherever we do. I think, obviously when you travel, I mean, I go to Italy a lot, and I'll be honest with you, it doesn't inspire me as much. It does once in a while.
Okay.
You know, like I think Carlo Scarpa is one of my favorite architects in Italy. What I love is just his details. So I think, you know, like I kind of remember I was in Verona and I went to one of the castles he renovated for a museum. And I remember like just going through it. And I was with my brothers. I had a couple of brothers with me and their girlfriend or wives' girlfriend. And I remember I was just running through and I was just like, look at these designs. And I'm like, look at the easels and I'm looking at like the floor, like trim detail. And I'm looking at the bridges and they're like, dude, look at the art. And I'm like, I don't know. That doesn't even interest me. And then we kind of went through this whole like rigmarole all the way up to the top. And then I saw the staircase at the very top. I'm like, oh my God, this is Carlos Scarpa. I'm like, I was just so like thrilled. And I was just like, that's where I love to live, is like in that detail. Like he's got genius in that. So that's one of the big inspirations for me. Tom Kundig.
Yeah.
I think I just feel kin with him. You know, I had an opportunity to have dinner with him a few years ago. I kind of screwed up and missed it. But I feel, that was kind of a bad move. But anyway, I just look at his work and I feel very, very connected to it. I love big, movable, operable windows and doors. I love steel is our main thing. That's everything that's happening behind me right now is all steel.
Oh, yeah.
And nothing, our joke is with our team is like, can't you design anything light? Like, it's like everybody has like back braces on and like everyone's just totally killing themselves here. But that's another one. I mean, there's other people like Oscar Niemeyer. It's like just incredible design, just overall like form, like just monster form. Yeah. I mean, I think that's, I look at lookbooks. I don't read a lot. But
so you're very visual.
I have books everywhere. But those are my inspirations, I think. And as far as people or individuals, but other than that, I find it some of the smallest things. You know, when you're just walking down the street and you see something that somebody screwed up on, and it's like that was kind of cool, even though they did it wrong. You know, it depends on what you're doing
from it.
Yeah,
very cool. Well, I mean, you, I know is a big inspiration for other people. How do you think your design inspires others?
I think mostly, I think the fact that we built 90% of everything we do, I think that's a big inspiration. And that's something I'm hoping that is inspiring people to do something similar. Because I do think that the future now with the technologies we have, with the equipment we have, is something where more designers should kind of pick up a hammer and pick up, some tools and start doing some of themselves. Not to the extent that we've gone. Like I bring in as much of the different things or the elements in the different trades just because I get tired of working with other people. I know that sounds horrible.
Got it.
But like, I mean, like you'd have like a water jet guy and he would bring your parts and you're wrong. And he's like, I just cut the file. And I'm like, oh my God, like I got to do this all over again. Like, and I got to send him new material. Like I was like, you know what, I'm just going to buy a water jet and just do it myself. And that's kind of how we've kind of grown. But I think it's like there's a lot of the technology, especially like the CNC equipment and stuff like that. We have a whole CNC department, and like with all those equipment, that's where I'm noticing like we work a lot with kids from school and stuff like that. And I see how they get so excited about the CNC equipment. And that's the future. I mean, robotics is going to come in pretty quick and easy. We have some robotics here. We have a robotics department downstairs. And I think that eventually we'll move into that even more. So I think, having to be this super incredible craftsman is something that we still love and we have, but I think it's going away. We're finding it very hard to find people that want that skill. So I think you're kind of a hybrid now. You're like kind of a designer and a builder. I think that's going to be the future. So if that's what we're doing to inspire people, that'd be great.
That's insane. Yeah. I mean, I just find it like on some of my jobs, like we'll design something, whether it's like a detail on a fireplace or like a weird island. And we're sitting there like doing drawings. I'm like, I am not an engineer. Like, why am I figuring this out? But I'm like working with the metal people, trying to like figure out how is this going to actually stand and work. It's pretty intense.
That's the fun part. I think that's the intrigue, especially if you can make it even a better design, because a lot of times you have to alter the design to fit the buildable aspect of it. And to me, like a win, like I always say, like if we can make it even better and by making it more buildable, that to me is more beautiful. Sometimes I don't know if I just naturally adapt my eye or my vision or my brain to it, but like I think they're more beautiful when they're more buildable. Like I think that's probably not for everybody, but for me, that's what's really exciting.
Yeah. And I think it was on Instagram that you guys do upholstery as well in your space?
Yeah, we have an upholstery studio now. Yeah. I'm just buying it like a little CNC,
oh my God,
like laser, so you can cut your patterns, and it takes a snapshot of your hide, so you can like maximize all your parts.
This is amazing.
We're doing tons of leather work now. We're doing stone. We do stonework. We do all of our own glazing, acrylics. Wow. I mean, basically, there's not really much we don't get our hands into. We just perfected finally how to do rammed earth, which was really fun. But I mean, I think what we do is we have the team that we hire. We'll hire somebody for like a metal, like as a welder or fabricator or something like that, or a wood guy. But our work is so varied that sometimes we have just too much metal work. And so all the wood guys slide over and they start learning how to do woodwork. Almost everybody wants to work CNC if they can. So you got to line up for that one. But I think the idea is that people kind of slide around and they kind of learn these different trades. And like I just bought a neon shop up in LA, and so we just brought it down.
That's so rad.
Yeah, and so my upholstery guy was like, he had a couple, weeks where we didn't have a ton of work for him. I'm like, hey, I got this neon shop in a box right now. So he pulled it out and he's like learning how to do neon. So we have the person that we bought it from. So they come down and train 2 or 3 of the guys down here to how to do neon. I mean, we're not going to do like neon. We're not doing beer signs. Like I just like, I like it as a indirect light. You know what I mean? Like if there's, even though the LED neon's getting closer, it's just such a beautiful light. You can't match it with anything else.
Yeah, and imagine you're probably experimenting and just trying different things and using it in different ways.
Yeah, exactly. And we haven't even got to that point. And that's another reason why we bring tools on. Like I don't bring tools on to make money. I bring tools on because first it makes it convenient. And then like if we need to do something on the fly, we can figure it out and just do it right then. And then also like once we so we do little lunch and learns with our design team. And we show them how to use equipment so that it inspires them like, hey, how can I use that to do something different? And so they're trying to come up with the origami aspect of like, how do we utilize these equipment in different ways? So,
wow,
it's fun.
That's rad. I mean, that's really cool. And so I'm curious about people that are coming in. So do they already have experience in this building field, or are they like interested in design? Like how are they?
Some do. Most of them just have a strong desire to want to learn.
Okay.
And that's really all we're looking for. We don't expect somebody to come out of college and have an architectural degree to want, to already know how to build stuff. But I mean, even like new schools, for example, and then I know Stanford does, project-based learning, stuff like that. I think that's, to me, I actually talked to one of my really good friends is a dean over there, and I talk to her all the time about like, why don't we put a program together where they start in the shop, kind of like I know it sounds goofy, but like reverse engineer your design concept, because I'm like always going to their shows and they're designing these crazy buildings. I'm like, look, if they were lucky, they might do this when they're 50. They're gonna like whatever you're teaching right now. There's no way they're gonna remember all of that back in 30 years. But but like if you teach them how to build something, you don't really forget that stuff. So,
absolutely. I mean, it's all about that experience.
Well, it's just like you're just doing one. Like if you're using a press brake, you're just bending metal. It's not that big a deal. But at least you don't forget it.
Yeah, you know what it's going to do.
Exactly.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's kind of like why I created that mentorship program for the aspiring designers, is to get them into the spaces and to like learn from people that are doing it now and figuring out, and then deciding, is this what I want to do? Do I want to even go to school? Like, the option there is also you don't have to. Like, I think, lifting that sort of veil, and I've noticed that with the members that I have, a lot of them are like second career.
Yeah.
And they're like, I always thought I had to go back to school and like get this degree. And a couple of them are already like working in the field, and it's only been a month. and they're doing stuff and they're just getting their feet wet. So it's like, just being able to give people, I think to give people permission and to also be able to see what's possible, just like you showing them, we've got this thing going on, here's what's happening. And then like the gears and the ideas start forming, and then you've just created like a really cool asset to your team.
Oh, that's cool. Oh, that's good. You can bring them by here, by the way. You're welcome to.
I would love to bring them by. They're going to freak out.
Oh, no, it's fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
Everyone loves doing tours here. It's fun part too. So there's always somebody willing to jump up and do a tour.
And do it? Oh, that's so rad. I love it. So my next question is, what comes after inspiration?
After inspiration, implementation, I think, is always the key, I think. I think that's, again, I don't want to keep beating a dead horse, but like that is kind of our next step, is that we have to build it. So, our process is, the design is, we have a design pass off and then it goes into engineering. So we have a whole group of engineers that work here, and we have to put it into a working drawing, and we have to, a lot of times we have to get it structurally engineered. So that's the next step, is building it. I guess I don't know if that was the right direction of the answer, but
it's like experimenting and trying and seeing what works. And
well, we have like a group that does samples, just think prototyping and stuff like that. We always prototype.
What's the process on the prototype, and what does that look like?
Well, we don't care about finish. That's the first thing. Okay. So we can say, because a lot of times if you're building something, you have to have an organization to how it's going to be assembled or welded together or put together, however, cold fastened, whatever it is. And sometimes you have to finish before you actually put it together. So in prototyping, that's the kind of the fun part, is you can skip all that stuff and you can just kind of get the part out. And it doesn't have to be pretty, and I don't care where the welds are. We're not looking for that. We're just looking for functionality and, three-dimensionally, like, does this feel good, But I think, what we do is prototyping every day. And a lot of times we don't get a chance to actually do a physical prototype. So we only do the physical prototype if it's going to be multiple, or if it's going to be something that, if it moves. So like if we do our mechatronics lab, we prototype everything, just because we have to test it and run it for a while and make sure that it's operational, and that we're not going to have issues down the road, because we hate doing maintenance. Like the last thing you want to do is have
that's
run
the worst
around town
thing,
just
especially
doing
with moving
maintenance on
things.
everything. Yeah. So, but we try to minimize that.
Very cool. I was curious, last time we just randomly ran into each other in Austin, and you were working or starting to work.
I forgot about that.
I always think about, like, oh my God.
That's so crazy.
I know, right? Like, we were both, I came in just for a job to go out there, and I was there for less than 24 hours.
Yeah.
And I think it was your first time out there, like meeting the team that you were working with. And
we were just going to dinner. I remember perfectly. That's great.
Yeah. And then I just feel this tap on my shoulder and turn around, and it was like, oh my God, that's so crazy.
That is crazy.
But I want to know about that project. I don't know, like, did you guys move forward on it? Like, open?
No, it's like it doubled, actually. So it's like, that's our biggest project right now. We actually are, I'm looking at property and down by South Congress right now. Actually, I go in 2 weeks to look at a property. We're looking, expanding to Austin now. I fell in love with Austin, and then the people out there are just incredible. I think it's very akin to San Diego, I'll be honest with you. Like there's something about the two, and it's such an easy trip. It's like 2 hours you're there, and it's just as close to the airport it is here. So you're not like, there's not really any drive time or anything like that. Everything's just an Uber. But no, we're super thrilled. We're working on, we designed the entire project, and then they bought the same size property next door. And like, okay, we want to just expand this whole thing. So we had to scrap all the design we did and then just redo the whole thing. But now it's just, it's a big private, it's really cool. It's a private club.
Oh my gosh.
And it's got 2-floor subterranean spa. It's got a live music venue, a professional studio, archive room for music and equipment, or it's very musical, obviously. It's got its own restaurant. It's got offices, and then it's got this huge penthouse suite with and then it's a monster project. It's 60-some thousand square feet.
And you're doing all of it,
we're doing the whole thing. We're actually building it, where I got my GC license out there, so we're the general contractor as well.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so we already have 3 staff out there full time, and then we've hired probably eight staff just to manage it from here.
Wow.
So it's a monster.
And so when does it open?
I have no idea. 3 years probably.
Don't ask me that.
It's got to be like, it's going in sections, because part of the project is a brand new building. It's just a TI, and then the other is all new build, which that'll probably take 3 years. So the full thing opening 100% will be 3 years, but we'll probably open within a year and a half, probably for the main structure.
Got it.
Yeah.
So I always ask, like, what's coming up or what's brewing, what's going on, and it looks like that. Is there anything else that you're super excited about?
Yeah. We have. I'm in the dirt right now. I'm building a house in Bankers Hill. It's kind of behind me here, but it's a 3,200 square foot house. Designed it a few years ago. We're actually building it. We bought the property. We're doing it full, so we spec'd it. We're building it for spec, I should say. It's also prefab. It's part prefab, part site work, and then we're also building 4 houses in La Jolla. We bought 3 acres of land above the golf course that happened to surround my house, so it was like the last of the estate of the house I bought from. So we're building 4 rather large custom homes there. So we're trying to get into a little bit in development. Like we're still we're also opening a restaurant on Girard. And that's also our project. So we're trying to do our own projects. So we're kind of we're still working. We still have a lot of other projects that we're doing. We have 15 other restaurants we're doing right now. We're trying to get kind of have an equal kind of a balance, maybe like the cards you were saying. Yeah. Maybe that's the balance, is like our own work that we can control ourselves, that we can do whatever we want, and then the client-based stuff. So.
And so with these houses, are there people that own those, or you own these houses outright and you're going to be selling them or renting them?
Oh, no, it's just land right now. We're entitlement right now. We're going to build 4 custom homes. So we have to build, first phase is we're building the road right now. We're going to be building a road to the houses, because there's no road right now. And then we have to build. So that's already been financed, and that's ready to go. And then phase 2 is to actually build the homes. We already designed the houses. We're just we got to get the architecture done in the next year. We have some time. So.
Yeah, and this is new because you don't typically do houses.
No, I'm doing them with Jules Wilson.
Right.
My other half. Yeah. So we're my better half, I should say. So we're starting to do projects together. The restaurant is something that we're doing together. The 4 houses we're doing together. And then we have some other projects where we're kind of mixing our services together, both design and the build part. So it's kind of a new thing. It's fun. We're not trying to kill each other, so it's working out great.
Yeah, that's hard.
It's really hard.
Yeah, that's a lot.
It's just, you got too many chefs sometimes in the kitchen, and
yeah.
So just figuring out that balance. Sometimes I just shut up. just be quiet.
Where
just go somewhere else. But no, it's fun. It's really good. She's got a great team down there too. It's incredible group of people.
Yeah, and she's pretty close to you too, right? Your offices aren't too far away.
1 block.
Yeah.
So it's really fun because we just kind of bounce back and forth. It's kind of it's not like we have 2 offices now. So, and we're doing a lot. Next week we're doing an event with her team and our team. We're all going to the Del Mar races together and having a big
fun
dinner, cocktail kind of thing. So it's fun.
So great. Yeah, that's amazing. I love it.
Yeah.
So with all this juggling and all the things happening, do you have any practices that you participate in to keep you grounded and centered and level-headed? And
I know you mentioned that you're gonna ask that. I'm I don't really
do anything.
I don't know. I think what I do is grounding. I don't think of this as work, so I don't know if I have to get grounded from it, but
Got it.
I do. I mean, I go on walks. We go on I like urban walks where, you're walking around architecture and stuff like that. We travel a lot, quite a bit. We just got back from Hawaii. I go to Hawaii a lot. That's really my grounding place. So I usually try and do that at least twice a year if I can, but just 3 or 4 days at a time. But our family has a house there, and it's that is when you said home earlier, I kind of was. Is it Hawaii or is it here? I'm not sure. I've been going to Hawaii longer, for 30 years now, and I just love it. As soon as we touch down and we open the doors open to from the airplane, I do feel at home there. Just because you're so far from everything. Like there's no disaster you're gonna do anything about. You're like, I can't get on the plane, fix any of that. So so it's kind of nice.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. That's fantastic. So how can people be inspired by your work? Where can we find all this fun stuff that's going on?
Well, I mean, we do a pretty strong Instagram.
Okay.
We have somebody that manages that full time.
Nice.
We don't go crazy. I know that over posting sometimes is kind of gives people fatigue. So we try to be selective and sort of just slow feed. We do stories, as much as we can. That's usually about the build part. It's usually studio shots, stuff like that. And then our website, we keep that pretty well updated.
Yeah.
So any new projects are usually when they open, we try to get them done and up within a month of the time we did it. So that's probably the best place to see what we do. And that has a whole thing on our mechatronics lab, which is kind of our thing that we're super proud of now, that we're kind of merging electronics and architecture together. So that's kind of been our real fun department. So.
Yeah, that's super rad. And then I think I was on your website, and there is a tab, right, for like careers if somebody wanted to apply.
Yep.
You've got all these openings, and
there's like 10 I think there's like 10 positions, 10 different positions.
Yeah.
So it's like
every time I'm on there, I'm like, oh my God.
Something for everybody. It's like it's like a wheel. We just pick a career. We got it.
Oh, I love it. It's fantastic. Well, thank you. I know you are always slammed and busy, and I really appreciate you taking the time to talk to me and to share a bit about what you're doing.
I wasn't planning on being camera, so I appreciate it.
Yeah, can we pan over and see the shop behind you? I'm sure everybody would love to. Yeah.
Yeah. So
that's incredible.
I think it's from this, right? It's from backwards.
Yeah, you got it.
So that's the back part is all CNC equipment, and then steel fabrication in the middle, cutting in the back, and then our wood department's all on this side. And then we have another studio in Barrio. It's approximately the same size, but outside, but we have like a full spray booth, and that's where we do all of our finishing work and all that stuff. But we need to move where this is too tiny for us. We need triple this. So we're trying to find a new location, which is really hard, but
it's San Diego.
It's almost impossible to find something we need I just don't want to be too far. Like I want quality of life. Right. I don't want our staff driving to San Ysidro. It's just not going to work.
No. Yeah.
So we're picky about where we want to land. So,
well, you'll have to keep us posted when that happens, and we'll create a date for a tour with the membership. And
anytime.
Yeah. Sweet.
All
right. Awesome. Thank you. You've been listening to the Holistic Interior Design Business Podcast. If it's one that you have been enjoying, please share with anyone else that you think can benefit from this knowledge, and leave us a 5-star review. That helps us get seen and found by other new and aspiring interior designers. And if you're looking for mentorship, I invite you to join our club here at the Design Coven. It's a bridge between school and real life interior design. We get in much deeper there. We have virtual and in-person events, so everyone is welcome. You don't need to have a design degree to be part of it, just an interest in holistic interior design. I also want to thank our editor, Marcy Ferry, Blake Ferris, for all of her special help with the podcast, our social media posts, newsletter, and lastly, Kinseth Thibodeau, who is our music composer. Until next time, be well, and we will see each other soon.